The silk sheets felt cold against Patricia's skin. 3 months of marriage to Min-jae Huang, one of Seoul's most eligible bachelors, and she could count on one hand the number of times he'd actually slept in their bed. Tonight was different, though. Tonight, she'd found something that made her blood run cold. Patricia sat on the edge of their California king bed, her hands trembling as she held Min-jae's phone. The screen illuminated her rich brown skin in the darkness. The messages scrolled endlessly. Loving words, intimate photos, plans for secret meetings. But none of them were with her. The name at the top of the chat read, Dae-young. Her heart hammered as the bathroom door opened, steam billowing out as Min-jae emerged in his silk robe. He froze when he saw her sitting there, his phone in her hands, tears streaming down her face. "Patricia," he started. "Who is Dae-young?" Her voice was barely a whisper. "And don't you dare lie to me, Min-jae. Not anymore. But to understand how Patricia ended up here, we need to go back 6 months earlier." Patricia Okonkwo had mastered Seoul. After 2 years as a senior marketing consultant for a major Korean beauty company, the Nigerian beauty had become a beloved figure. Fluent in Korean, brilliant at her job, with a warmth that lit up every room. At 32, she'd built an impressive career, but romantic love had always eluded her. That changed at the Huang Foundation Gala. "You're Patricia Okonkwo," a deep voice said beside her. Min-jae Huang stood there, Seoul's most eligible bachelor, holding 2 glasses of champagne. "Your campaign for the Natural Radiance line was brilliant." For the next hour, they talked about work, Seoul, Patricia's journey from Lagos to Seoul. Min-jae was surprisingly vulnerable, sharing the pressure of carrying a legacy. "Don't you ever want to just be yourself?" Patricia asked. "Not the heir. Just Min-jae." Something flickered in his eyes. "Every day. But I'm not sure I remember who that person is anymore." She reached out, placing her hand over his. "Maybe you just need someone to remind you." He interlaced his fingers with hers. "Maybe I do." From that night, Min-jae pursued Patricia intensely. Flowers daily, hidden restaurants, sunset walks. He made her laugh, asked about her dreams, seemed genuinely fascinated by her life. 2 months later, beneath ginkgo trees on Nami Island, he proposed. "You've shown me what it means to be truly seen," he said, kneeling. "Will you marry me?" Every logical part of her screamed it was too fast, but her heart knew. Yes. The wedding was beautiful. 200 guests. Patricia in a gown fusing Korean and Nigerian elements. Her family flew in from Lagos, charmed by Min-jae's devotion. But the wedding night changed everything. Patricia emerged from the bathroom in carefully selected lingerie. Min-jae was on the phone, his voice tense. "I can't. Not tonight. This is Dae-young. Please try to understand." He hung up quickly when he noticed her. "Work emergency. I need to go to the office." "On our wedding night?" He kissed her forehead, just her forehead, and left, leaving Patricia alone in rose petals and dying candles, wondering what had happened. She told herself it was work, that tomorrow would be different. But it wasn't. Month after month, there was always an excuse. Too tired. Early meeting. Not tonight. Maybe tomorrow. Patricia tried everything. New lingerie. Romantic evenings. Conversations he always redirected. "We have our whole lives together," he'd say. Why rush things? It was eating away at her. Was she not attractive enough? Too different. She confided in her best friend Ji-yeon over coffee. 3 months and you haven't? Ji-yeon's eyes widened. Patricia shook her head, tears threatening. "I don't know what's wrong with me. That's not normal. And it's not about you." Ji-yeon paused. There were always rumors about Min-jae, about why he never dated publicly, about his business partner Dae-young. That name again, always in hushed phone calls, always making Min-jae tense. That night, Patricia made a decision. She went to Min-jae's off-limits home office. In a locked drawer, she found photographs. Dozens of them. Min-jae and a handsome Korean man, Dae-young, on vacations, arms around waists, laughing on beaches. In one photo, clearly kissing. The pictures were recent, some taken just months before she'd met Min-jae. Beneath the photos was a letter. "Min-jae, I understand the pressure from your family, but watching you marry her, pretending, it's destroying us both. I love you. How long are we going to keep living this lie? Dated 1 week after her wedding. Patricia's vision blurred. She'd married a man who was gay, using her as a cover for his conservative family. All his tender moments, sweet words, carefully crafted performances. The betrayal hit like a physical blow. That's when she heard the front door. Min Jae's voice. Patricia? Are you home? And that's where we began. Who is Dae-young? Patricia's voice cut through the silence. Min Jae stood frozen, realizing what she'd found. His mask cracked like fine porcelain. Patricia, I can explain. Can you? She stood, tears streaming. Can you explain why I found photos of you kissing another man? This letter from Dae-young about how much he loves you? Why my husband can't bring himself to touch me? She threw the phone at him. Can you explain why you married me when you're in love with someone else? Min Jae's shoulders slumped. Yes. That single word felt like a knife to her heart. Yes. Her voice rose. That's all you have to say? What do you want me to say? Anger or desperation? Edged his voice. That it's not what it looks like? We both know that's a lie. Yes. I'm in love with Dae-young. I have been for years. The room spun. Then why? She whispered. Why marry me? Why put me through this? Min Jae ran his hands through his hair. It wasn't supposed to be like this. You weren't supposed to fall for me. This was supposed to be an arrangement. An arrangement? Patricia shouted. You proposed under ginkgo trees. You told me I made you feel like yourself. It was real. Min Jae stepped forward. My feelings for you were real, just not romantic. I do care about you, but I can't be what you need me to be. Then why pretend you could? Because I'm a coward. His shout echoed. My father is dying. Pancreatic cancer. 6 months, maybe less. And his dying wish is to see me married. To see the Huang legacy secured. He sank onto the bed. I've spent my life trying to be the son he wanted. I've sacrificed everything. My happiness, my truth, my love. And I couldn't give him this one thing. I couldn't marry a Korean woman from an approved family. I couldn't pretend to love someone I didn't care about. He looked up at her. But then I met you. You were different, kind, strong, genuine. And I thought maybe I could have both. Make my father happy and have a friend. Someone who understood living between two worlds. A friend. Patricia's voice was ice. You married me to have a friend? I know how it sounds. Do you have any idea how it feels to find out your marriage is a lie? Patricia's voice broke. That every I love you was just another line? I never said I loved you, Min Jae said quietly. Not that way. I said I cared about you. That was true. Oh. Thank you for that technicality. Sarcasm dripped from her words. You just let me believe it. She turned away. Did Dae-young know? About me? The silence answered. Of course he did, she whispered. That's what the letter was about. He actually loves you. And he had to watch you marry someone else. She laughed bitterly. I'm the villain in his love story. You're not a villain. You're a victim. My victim. I'm so sorry, Patricia. She whirled around. Sorry? You think sorry fixes this? I've spent 3 months thinking something was wrong with me. That I wasn't pretty enough, sexy enough, good enough. Her voice broke, and she hated showing weakness. There's nothing wrong with you, Min Jae said. You're beautiful. Don't. Patricia held up her hand. Don't try to comfort me. You don't get to be the good guy. She walked to the closet and started packing. What are you doing? I'm leaving. Patricia, wait. Figure out what? How to keep pretending. She spun to face him. No. I'm done being your cover story. Where will you go? Not your problem anymore. I'll stay with Jiyeon. Tomorrow I'll find a lawyer. I'm divorcing you, Min Jae. I'm getting out of this sham, and I'm never looking back. My family can deal with the scandal. I'm sure you'll find a way to spin it. Min Jae stood. For what it's worth, I really did enjoy our time together. You're amazing, Patricia. You deserved better than me. Patricia paused at the door. You're right. I deserved honesty, respect, a real marriage. She took a breath. But most of all, I deserved to make my own choices. And you took that from me. She grabbed her bags. I hope it was worth it. I hope your father's approval was worth destroying someone who actually cared about you. Because unlike you, Min-jae, I was real. Every moment, every feeling, it was all real. And she left. Ji-yeon's apartment was small but warm, filled with kimchi stew and comfort. I'm going to kill him, Ji-yeon muttered, pouring soju. Slowly, with a rusty spoon. Despite everything, Patricia laughed weakly. Over the next days, Patricia threw herself into practicalities. She met with a sharp lawyer, Attorney Kim, who called it fraud. He married you under false pretenses. You can seek substantial compensation. I don't want his money, Patricia said firmly. Just my freedom. As she signed divorce papers, she felt something shift. Pride. Pride in having the strength to leave. Work was harder. Seoul's elite circles buzzed with gossip. But Patricia held her head high, did excellent work, ignored whispers. Late one night at the office, she got an unexpected visitor. Ms. Okonkwo, a handsome Korean man, stood in her doorway, softer features than Min-jae, but with underlying sadness. She knew before he introduced himself. I'm Dae-young, Park Dae-young. May I have a moment? Curiosity made her gesture to a chair. 5 minutes. Dae-young sat, hands clasped. I know I'm the last person you want to see, but I had to tell you, I'm sorry. You're sorry. Yes, for my part in this. For not pushing Min-jae harder to tell you the truth. For letting my own feelings cloud my judgment. Your love for a married man, Patricia said coldly. Dae-young flinched. Yes, when Min-jae said he'd propose to you, I begged him not to. I told him it was wrong. But how could I stop him? I'm nobody. And he was so determined. So you just let him ruin my life? I love him. I've loved him since university. And loving him has meant watching him hide, perform, slowly destroy himself trying to be what everyone wants. He leaned forward. I'm not asking forgiveness. I just want you to understand. Min-jae isn't a monster. He's a man trapped between duty and desire. What he did was unforgivably wrong. But it came from desperation, not malice. That almost makes it worse, Patricia said quietly. He hurt me anyway. He chose his comfort over my well-being. You're right. You deserve someone who loves you completely, honestly. Someone who chooses you every day. Why are you really here? Dae-young pulled out an envelope. Min-jae asked me to give you this. His father passed away 2 days ago. The funeral is tomorrow. He set it on her desk. He's not asking you to come. He just wanted you to know. After he left, Patricia stared at the envelope. Finally, she opened it. The letter was handwritten, Min-jae's elegant script. Dear Patricia, my father died believing I'd done everything right. Married well, secured the legacy. He died believing a lie. I know I have no right to write, but I need you to understand. My father's approval was everything. For 35 years, I've shaped myself around his expectations. I thought if I could give him this one thing, then maybe I could have my own life afterward. I was wrong. You can't build truth on lies. You asked if anything was real. Yes, my respect was real. My admiration was real. My hope that we could be partners, if not lovers, was real. But without honesty, all those real feelings became tainted. I don't expect forgiveness. I just wanted you to know I'm sorry. Not shallow sorry, but real acknowledgement of the harm I caused. You deserved truth. You deserved a real chance at love. And I stole that from you. I've signed the divorce papers. I'll give you whatever you ask for. If you want nothing, I understand. I hope someday you can look back without pain. I hope you find someone who loves you wholly, honestly, completely. I hope you find the happiness I was too coward to give you. And I hope you remember me not as the man who betrayed you, but as the man who taught you to trust your instincts. Because you knew, Patricia, from the beginning. Trust that instinct. With sincere remorse. Min-jae. Patricia read it 3 times, tears streaming. Not tears of renewed love, but tears for what could have been if he'd been brave enough for honesty. Tears for wasted time. Tears for destroyed trust. But also, surprisingly, tears of relief. She was free. She folded the letter, put it in a drawer, closed it firmly. Then she turned back to her laptop and her presentation. Life went on. Her career went on. She went on. and she was going to be okay. 6 months later, Patricia sat in a sun-drenched Itaewon cafe, radiant in a flowing yellow dress. Her locks were twisted elegantly, her smile genuine. "Another cappuccino, Ms. Patricia?" the barista asked. "Yes, please, Minsu. And a chocolate croissant. I'm celebrating." "The divorce is final?" Patricia grinned. "As of yesterday, I am officially a free woman." The divorce had been surprisingly easy. Min-jae kept his word, signed everything, accepted her minimal requests, never contacted her. She'd heard he and Dae-young had left Seoul for Europe. She hoped they'd found happiness, and she was surprised to realize she meant it. The anger had faded, leaving sad understanding. Min-jae had been a victim too, of family, society, his own fear. That didn't excuse what he'd done. But understanding was the first step toward healing. Ms. Okonkwo, a striking Korean woman in a power suit, approached. "I'm Choi Yuna, CEO of Stellar Communications. I've been following your work. Might we talk about an opportunity?" What followed changed Patricia's trajectory. Choi offered a position as creative director at Stellar's new international division, bridging Asian and African markets. "Your Natural Radiance campaign was brilliant," Choi said. "You understood that global doesn't mean homogenized. We need that perspective." "You know about my situation?" Patricia asked carefully. Choi waved dismissively. "I know you were briefly married and divorced. I also know you launched 3 successful campaigns, increased market share by 15%, and won the Asia Marketing Excellence Award. Your personal life is your business. I care about your excellence. Validation, recognition, respect earned through merit, not marriage. Take your time thinking it over." "But Patricia," Choi leaned forward, "you have remarkable talent. Don't let one man's mistakes make you doubt your worth." After Choi left, Patricia sat thinking. The old Patricia would have been uncertain, would have questioned if she deserved it. But the new Patricia, who'd survived betrayal and emerged stronger, knew exactly what she wanted. She called Choi. "I accept. When do I start?" 3 months later, Patricia stood in her new 42nd floor office at Stellar Communications, soul sprawling beneath her. Her team was brilliant and diverse, creating campaigns that challenged stereotypes, celebrated cultural richness, proved effective marketing didn't mean cultural erasure. A potential client meeting went brilliantly. When it ended with a signed contract expanding Stellar's reach into 5 new African markets, her assistant Amara texted Ji-yeon. "Uni." Ji-yeon burst in with champagne. "You got the deal. How did you get past security?" "I told them I was your work wife." "Also champagne." Ji-yeon clinked glasses. "Look at you, taking over the world. Just doing good work." Patricia protested, smiling. 6 months ago you were crying on my couch eating ice cream. Now you're closing international deals. That's a phoenix rising from ashes. They settled into chairs, savoring champagne. "Seriously though," Ji-yeon's expression turned serious. "How are you? Really? You mean my love life? Your whole life? Your heart? Your healing?" Patricia considered honestly. "Yeah, I think I really am okay. There are still moments of anger, moments I wonder if I'll trust again. But mostly, I feel grateful." "Grateful?" Ji-yeon looked skeptical. "I know it sounds weird, but that situation taught me so much about myself. To trust my instincts, that I'm stronger than I thought, that I don't need a man to validate my worth." Patricia set down her glass. "I'm happy, Ji-yeon. Really genuinely happy. Just me, myself, and I." "You mean that?" "I do. For the first time, I'm not looking for someone to complete me. I'm already complete." "I love that, but being complete doesn't mean staying alone. When you're ready, there's nothing wrong with sharing your completeness with someone who deserves it." "Who said I'm staying alone?" Patricia grinned mysteriously. Ji-yeon sat up. "Are you seeing someone?" "Not seeing, but exploring. Dating casually. Nothing serious. Details." What Patricia didn't share was the most interesting one. Jamal. American-born with Senegalese parents, teaching English and art to underprivileged kids. They'd met when Patricia volunteered at a community center. He'd approached after her workshop. "That was inspiring. You really connected with these kids." They talked for 2 hours. He was funny, thoughtful, passionate about education, completely unbothered by her corporate success or past drama. He saw her, really saw her, in a way both terrifying and exhilarating. They'd exchanged numbers, texted, met for coffee, then dinner. One brief, sweet goodnight kiss. Real potential there. And that scared Patricia more than she'd admit. Her phone buzzed. Jamal. Gallery opening in Hongdae tonight. Contemporary African art. Made me think of you. Want to come? Flutter in her chest. Half excitement, half anxiety. That's him. Jian bounced. You're blushing. Okay, fine. There's a guy. Jamal. He teaches art. He's kind and smart. And you're terrified. Completely. What if I'm wrong about him? What if I miss the signs again? Or, Jian said gently, what if he's exactly who he seems? What if you give yourself permission to take a risk? Patricia looked at Jamal's text. The old me would have made an excuse, she said slowly. Would have stayed closed off. And the new you? Patricia smiled and typed. Would love to. Pick me up at 7? His reply was instant. Can't wait. The new me takes risks. The gallery was vibrant. Stunning art from emerging African artists. Patricia moved through with Jamal, discussing pieces, laughing at inside jokes. He looked good, casual but put together, locks in a neat bun. But more than appearance, it was his presence. The way he listened, respected her space but gently challenged her opinions. Made her feel seen without demanding anything. This one reminds me of you, Jamal said, stopping at a large canvas. A woman mid-dance, dress flowing in gold and amber, face tilted toward sun. Why? The movement, the joy, the sense of someone finally free to be exactly who they are. He looked at her warmly. That's you. Someone who's found her freedom. Patricia's breath caught. You barely know me. How can you see that? Because you carry it. In how you walk into rooms. Talk about your work. Look at these paintings with pure appreciation, no pretense. You're comfortable in your own skin. That's rare. And beautiful. In the crowded gallery, they looked at each other with heart-racing intensity. I'm scared, she admitted quietly, of getting this wrong, of trusting the wrong person again. I know. Jamal didn't offer empty promises. I can't tell you I won't hurt you. I'm human. I'll probably mess up sometimes. But I promise. I'll always be honest. Even when the truth is hard. You deserve honesty, Patricia. How do I know? You don't. He interrupted gently. You can't know for sure. That's the scary part. There are no guarantees. But you can trust your instincts. And trust yourself to handle whatever comes. Patricia thought about her instincts, which had been right about Min-jae all along. About her strength, which had carried her through betrayal. Okay, she said. Okay. Let's see where this goes. No promises, no expectations. Just honesty and possibility. Jamal's smile was like sunshine. I can work with that. He held out his hand. Patricia took it. His palm was warm, grip firm but not possessive. Felt right. Not perfect or magical. Just right. They walked through the gallery hand in hand, and for the first time in long, Patricia felt genuinely hopeful about the future. 6 months later, Patricia stood before her mirror in her beautiful Hanamdong apartment, adjusting her cream silk blouse. Morning light streamed through windows, illuminating the space she'd made truly her own. Walls covered with art, books spanning topics from marketing to philosophy, thriving plants reaching toward light. This was her sanctuary, her home. You look beautiful, Jamal said from the bedroom doorway, ready for his day at the community center. They'd been together 5 months, taking things slow but steady. He had his own apartment but spent most weekends here. She'd given him a key last month. Just nervous. Big presentation. Today she was pitching the board for approval to open Stellar's first African headquarters. In Lagos. Her Lagos. The city she'd left to chase dreams. Returning now with power to create opportunities. You're going to crush it, Jamal said confidently, wrapping arms around her waist. Because you're not just selling a business plan. You're sharing a vision. And when you're passionate, you're unstoppable. Patricia leaned into his embrace. Their relationship wasn't perfect. They'd had disagreements about time, emotional availability, pace. But they talked through each one honestly, never letting resentment fester. Jamal had been true to his word about honesty. He'd shared his own past hurts, struggles with anxiety, complex feelings about being American but connected to Africa through heritage. In return, Patricia had opened up about Minjae. Jamal listened without judgment, held her when old wounds resurfaced, never tried to compete with or erase her past. "I love you," she said suddenly, first time saying it. Jamal froze, then relaxed. Joy transformed his face. "I love you too. I've been wanting to say it for weeks, waiting for you to be ready." Patricia turned to face him. "I'm ready. For this. For you. For whatever comes next." They kissed, sweet, unhurried, a promise of partnership rather than possession. The presentation was a triumph. Patricia stood before the board, powerful executives from across continents, sharing her vision with passion and precision. Market research, financial projections, strategic partnerships. But more than that, a picture of possibility. Africa is not a single market, she concluded strongly. It's 54 countries, thousands of cultures, over 1 billion people with diverse needs. But what they share is hunger for products that see them, respect them, recognize their value as priority, not afterthought. Stellar has the opportunity to build bridges rather than impose models, to listen rather than dictate, to invest in African talent, creativity, innovation. Her final slide, Lagos at sunset, dramatic skyline against pink and orange. "This is where it starts. Lagos, my home. And I want to bring Stellar home with me." The board voted unanimously in favor. After, as executives congratulated her, Patricia walked to the window overlooking Seoul. This city had given her so much: career, independence, heartbreak, healing, love. But Lagos was calling her home. This time, returning not as someone running away but bringing gifts back to her community. Her phone buzzed. "Jamal, how did it go?" "I got it. I'm going home. When do we leave?" Patricia smiled at that "we." They talked about it, what it would mean if she moved to Nigeria for a year to launch the Lagos office. Jamal was already looking into Lagos teaching opportunities, excited about connecting diaspora students with heritage. 3 months to wrap up. Then we figure it out together. Together. I like the sound of that. So did Patricia. Together didn't mean losing herself or compromising dreams. It meant partnership, 2 whole people choosing to walk the same path. She thought about the Patricia from a year ago, confused, hurting, questioning her worth. That woman had needed to go through fire to become who she was today. The fire had been painful, but also transformative. Minjae had taught her what she didn't want: deception, performance, conditional love. Jamal was teaching her what she did want: honesty, authenticity, love that celebrated rather than concealed. But most importantly, she'd taught herself the most valuable lesson. She was enough. Alone or partnered, successful or struggling, put together or messy. She was enough. 1 year later, Lagos, Nigeria. Stellar Communications Africa headquarters was stunning. All glass and light and modern African design in Victoria Island. Patricia's top-floor office overlooked the Lagos Lagoon. In 1 year, they'd exceeded every expectation. Successful campaigns across 6 countries. Jobs for over 100 locals. Stellar established as the go-to agency for authentic African engagement. Patricia had built something real, lasting, meaningful. After a brilliant afternoon meeting with a Nigerian beauty brand, she had one more appointment. She walked to the ground floor conference room where 20 young Nigerian women gathered for Patricia's monthly mentorship session. These women, marketing students, aspiring entrepreneurs, creative professionals, reminded Patricia of herself at their age. Full of dreams but uncertain about navigating professional spaces not designed for them. "Good evening, everyone," Patricia smiled. "Who's ready to talk about taking up space?" For 2 hours, they discussed everything: negotiating salaries, handling microaggressions, building networks. Patricia shared her own story. Not just success, but failures, heartbreaks, moments of doubt. "I want you to understand something," she told them. "Your worth is not determined by whether a man chooses you. It's not determined by fitting someone else's expectations. Your worth is inherent. It's in your talent, intelligence, resilience, your unique perspective." One young woman raised her hand. But what if we make mistakes? Trust the wrong person. Patricia thought about Min-jae that painful year. Then you learn. You get back up. You trust yourself to handle whatever comes. Mistakes aren't failures, they're lessons. They teach you who you are and what you deserve. She looked around the room at these bright young faces. I married the wrong man. He lied to me, used me, broke my heart. And you know what? I survived. I thrived. I built a life I'm proud of. Not despite that heartbreak, but partially because of it. That experience taught me my strength. Taught me to trust my instincts. It taught me that I am complete on my own. And that's the best foundation for any relationship. The women listened intently. So yes, you'll make mistakes. You'll trust the wrong people sometimes. You'll get hurt. But that doesn't make you weak or foolish. It makes you human. What matters is what you do next. Do you stay down, or do you rise? Patricia smiled, thinking of everything she'd been through, everything she'd overcome, everything she'd become. Always rise, ladies. Always rise. That evening, Patricia came home to the apartment she shared with Jamal and Lecky. A beautiful space filled with their combined art collections, books in English, Yoruba, and French, photographs from their travels together. Jamal was in the kitchen, cooking jollof rice and humming along to Afrobeats playing on the speaker. How was the mentorship session? He asked, pulling her into a hug. Beautiful. Those young women are so brilliant, so hungry to succeed. Patricia leaned into him. I wish I'd had someone like that when I was their age. You're being that person for them now. That's what matters. They moved to the living room, settling onto the couch with glasses of wine, watching the Lego sunset paint the sky in brilliant colors. Do you ever regret it? Jamal asked softly. The path that brought you here? The pain you went through? Patricia considered the question. A year ago, the answer would have been yes. Unequivocally yes. But now? No, she said honestly. I don't regret it. Not anymore. Because that pain shaped me. It broke me open so I could rebuild myself stronger. If I hadn't gone through that, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have learned to trust myself. I wouldn't have learned what real love looks like. She turned to Jamal, cupping his face in her hands. I wouldn't have been ready for you, for us, for this life we're building together. Even if you could go back and avoid all that hurt, even then, Patricia smiled. Because that hurt taught me something invaluable. I can survive anything. I can lose everything and rebuild. I can be betrayed and still choose to trust again. That's power, Jamal. That's freedom. They sat in comfortable silence, watching the sun dip below the horizon. Patricia thought about Min-jae sometimes, wondered if he was happy, if he'd found peace with Dae-young, if he ever thought about the woman he'd married and deceived. She hoped he had found happiness. She hoped he'd learned to be brave. But mostly, she didn't think about him at all, because her life was full of meaningful work, genuine friendships, authentic love, and most importantly, of herself. The woman she'd become through fire and healing. Patricia Okonkwo had come to Korea looking for love and found heartbreak. But in the aftermath of that heartbreak, she discovered something far more valuable. Herself, her strength, her worth, her power. And that was the greatest love story of all. 3 years later, the conference hall at the Pan-African Business Summit in Accra was packed with over 2,000 attendees. Patricia stood backstage, smoothing down her custom-made Ankara suit, a stunning blend of Nigerian and Ghanaian prints that had been designed specifically for today. 5 minutes, Ms. Okonkwo, the stage manager said. Patricia took a deep breath, centering herself. In 5 minutes, she would walk onto that stage as the keynote speaker, not as someone's wife, not as a representative of someone else's vision, but as herself. Patricia Okonkwo, CEO of her own marketing consultancy firm, author of the best-selling book Authentic Marketing in a Global World, and one of Forbes Africa's 30 most influential women under 40. Her phone buzzed. A text from Jamal, "You're going to be amazing." Watching the live stream with the kids. They're so proud of their Auntie Patricia. We love you, she smiled. Jamal was back in Lagos with his students. The community center had grown into a full arts academy, and he was now the director. They'd gotten married a year ago in a beautiful ceremony that blended their cultures, Nigerian, Senegalese, and American traditions coming together in a celebration of authentic love. Another text, this one from Ji-yun. Kill it, UNNIE. I'm watching from Seoul with Minsu. Yes, the cute barista. We're dating now. Thanks for asking, smiling face with smiling eyes. You inspire us all. And one more, from an unexpected source. Good luck today. I'll be watching. You deserve every success. MJ. Minjae. They'd reconciled, not as friends exactly, but as two people who'd moved past their shared painful history. He'd reached out 2 years ago with a genuine apology, not asking for forgiveness but offering acknowledgement of the harm he'd caused. They'd met for coffee in Paris. Patricia had been there for work. Minjae lived there now with Dae-young. It had been awkward at first, but healing. Minjae told her he'd come out publicly, that he and Dae-young were finally living openly. The Hwang family had been shocked, then gradually accepting. Minjae had stepped back from the family business to focus on LGBTQ+ advocacy in Korea. I watched you rebuild your life, he told her over coffee, and it inspired me to finally build mine. Thank you for showing me what courage looks like. Patricia had realized then that forgiveness wasn't about forgetting or excusing. It was about releasing the weight of anger so she could move forward freely. 1 minute, Ms. Okonkwo. Patricia walked to the edge of the stage, hearing the moderator begin her introduction. Our keynote speaker today is a woman who has revolutionized how global brands engage with African markets. But more than that, she's a testament to resilience, authenticity, and the power of choosing yourself. Patricia closed her eyes for a moment, thinking about the journey that had brought her here. The naive woman who'd fallen for a beautiful lie. The heartbroken wife who'd discovered a devastating truth. The determined woman who'd chosen to leave rather than settle. The survivor who'd rebuilt herself stronger than before. And now she was simply Patricia. Complete, whole, powerful. Please welcome to the stage, Patricia Okonkwo. The applause was thunderous as Patricia walked onto that stage. Her head held high, her smile radiant, her heart full. She stood at the podium, looking out at the sea of faces. Young women and men who'd come to hear her speak, to learn from her journey, to find inspiration in her story. Good afternoon, she began, her voice strong and clear. I want to start by telling you about the worst night of my life. The night I discovered my husband was living a lie, and that I'd been part of that lie without my consent. The room went silent, everyone leaning forward. For the next hour, Patricia shared her story. Not just the professional successes, but the personal failures and heartbreaks. The shame of feeling foolish, the pain of betrayal, the fear of trusting again, but also the strength she'd discovered in herself, the growth that came from pain, the beauty of choosing authenticity over comfort. I could have stayed, she told them. I could have pretended not to know, maintained the perfect image, lived a comfortable lie. Many people would have understood that choice. But here's what I learned. Comfort is not the same as happiness. Security is not the same as peace. And being chosen is not the same as being valued. She paused, letting the words sink in. You have to choose yourself first. You have to value yourself first. You have to be authentic with yourself first. And then, only then, can you build genuine connections with others. The audience hung on every word. Today, I run a successful company. I'm married to an amazing man who sees me, celebrates me, and chooses me every single day, just as I choose him. I have a life I'm proud of. But none of that would have been possible if I hadn't first had the courage to walk away from what looked perfect but felt wrong. She smiled, thinking of Jamal, of their life together, of the family they were building. So my message to you today, especially to the young women in this room, trust your instincts. Trust your worth. Trust that you deserve honesty, respect, and genuine love. And if you ever find yourself in a situation where you have to choose between your peace and someone else's comfort, choose your peace. Every single time. The applause when she finished was deafening. People stood, cheering, some wiping tears from their eyes. As Patricia left the stage, she felt something she'd never felt before. Complete alignment between who she was and who she appeared to be. No masks. No performances, no pretending, just Patricia. Authentic, powerful, free. That evening, Patricia video called Jamal from her hotel room. You were incredible, he said, his face filling the screen. The kids made me replay your speech 3 times. Amina says she wants To be just like you when she grows up. Patricia's heart swelled. Amina was one of Jamal's star students. A brilliant 15-year-old girl who'd been struggling with family pressure to give up her art dreams for a more practical career. Tell Amina she's already amazing exactly as she is. She just needs to keep being brave. I will. Jamal's expression softened. I miss you. When are you coming home? 2 more days. Meeting with potential clients tomorrow. Then I'm all yours. All mine, he teased. I thought you belonged to yourself first. Patricia laughed. You know what I mean. I belong to myself, and I choose to share my life with you. There's a difference. That's the difference that makes all the difference, Jamal agreed. That's why we work. After they hung up, Patricia walked to the window of her hotel room, looking out over Accra's glittering nightlife. 3 years ago, even 2 years ago, she couldn't have imagined this life, this success, this happiness, this peace. She'd thought happiness meant finding the right person, securing the ring, getting the fairy tale ending. But she'd learned that happiness meant finding herself first. Everything else, the love, the success, the fulfillment, flowed from that foundation. Her phone buzzed one more time. An email from her publisher. Authentic Marketing just hit #1 on the African bestseller list. Congratulations. Patricia smiled, but not because of the bestseller status. She smiled because she'd written that book from a place of genuine expertise and hard-won wisdom. She'd poured her authentic self into every page. And people had responded to that authenticity. Because that's the thing about truth, it resonates, connects, transforms. Patricia had learned that lesson the hard way, through betrayal and heartbreak. But she'd learned it thoroughly. And now she was teaching it to others, helping them avoid the pitfalls she'd fallen into, showing them that their worth wasn't dependent on anyone else's validation. As she prepared for bed, Patricia thought one last time about the woman she'd been when she first arrived in Seoul. Hopeful but uncertain, accomplished but incomplete, searching for something outside herself to make her whole. She wished she could go back and tell that woman, "You already have everything you need. You are already enough. The love you're looking for? It starts with you." But that woman had needed to learn it herself. Through pain, through growth, through choosing herself again and again until it became natural. And now, Patricia could share that wisdom with others. She could be the mentor she'd needed, the example she'd lacked, the voice reminding young women everywhere. You are enough. Choose yourself. Trust yourself. Love yourself first. Everything else would follow. Patricia turned off the lights and settled into bed. A smile on her face, peace in her heart, and the whole beautiful future stretching out before her. She had risen from the ashes, and she was soaring.
Hello besties, in this story we learned that always trust your instincts. Patricia knew something was wrong from the beginning but ignored her gut feelings. Bestie, honesty is non-negotiable. Besties, your value doesn't decrease based on someone's inability to see your worth. When faced with betrayal, lies or disrespect, no matter how comfortable the situation seems, have the courage to walk away. Choose your peace, choose your truth, choose yourself, because the greatest love story you'll ever have is the one with yourself. Thank you so much for watching. Kindly like, subscribe and share.